Are you making the mistake that so many travelers are making right now, and that is traveling by emotion only? Okay, stop it. There's a lot of emotion going on in the world right now. And you know what? When you travel, there's always emotion involved because wherever you're going to travel is going to have some kind of an emotional appeal to you. For example, you're going to go to the Greek islands, there's an emotional appeal about going to Mykonos or Santorini or some of the other amazing islands where you're going to bask in the sun and maybe play with reckless abandon with the man or woman of your dreams, pick whomever or whatever you choose to play with in whatever vernacular they choose to identify themselves in. I want to be politically correct here. But the net bottom line is that we are emotional creatures and we're going to respond that way as to how we make our decisions. Today is really all about how to make wiser decisions in terms of your travel choices, both for short term and long term. Let's talk. The American election took a lot of us by surprise and by disappointment, and a lot of us were very happy. I'm saying us for the vernacular in the world, because certainly more than half the United States was very happy with the election result. We'll see how they'll feel in the next few months and next few years. But nonetheless, that election created a firestorm of emotion. The searches for how to leave America went up dramatically. I responded to it kind of in the same way. Wanted to put together a summit and all sorts of things about how to leave the U.S. Well, for me, it's different. I left the United States in 2009, moved to Thailand, and so I've been away from the U.S. And even though I watch diligently what's going on in my home country, in fact, I'm at my mom's place in Miami right now as I record this for you. The net bottom line is that I had an emotional response. I really was unhappy with the election result, as I think most gay people are. And when I say gay people, I'm talking for the LGBTQ plus I plus, you know what I mean, community, right, for all of us. And those that are allies and those that care about women's rights and all that sort of thing, women's rights to choose. So there is a big difference. While those that are focused strictly on money would maybe consider the economics of that decision, they think the stock market's going to go great and they'll make a lot more money. Well, you know, on my political level, I may be Switzerland here for the moment because I do have opinions on that, as we all do. But here's the thing. Leaving the U.S. as a result of the election may or may not be a good thing. I left in 2009 rather, and I didn't leave because of politics, I left because of culture. I wasn't happy with where things were, I wanted to change, and I wanted to make the world my playground and live a life of adventure. Live anywhere, play everywhere, work everywhere. Oh, there goes, it's panning on me. All right, so that's the lifestyle I've chosen. If you're looking to leave the U.S., most people tend to think about going maybe for the long term and moving from there. I'm going to tell you, don't do that. I'm going to tell you, consider having a taste. As an example, when I go to any new place, I don't ever want to go into anywhere long term until I know where I want to be. I don't know if I like the neighborhood. I don't know if it's too noisy. You know, you really want to have a taste before you stay. And that's the same thing even when you're being nomadic. For example, if you're going to, say, spend a month in Barcelona, then for heaven's sakes, don't book a place for a full month right away, unless you know the area already. But if you don't know the area, spend a couple nights here, spend a couple nights there, work off of some referrals, test first, taste first. Think about this. If you're going to go to a buffet, you don't typically load yourself up with everything all at once. You take little tastes and then decide to go back for more based on what you like. I'm suggesting that for travel as well. So, if you're thinking about, for example, moving to Canada, I love Canada. Love Canada. Did a lot of work in Canada over the years. Commuted to Canada. I'm a professional speaker. Commuted to Canada regularly and spoke there a lot. But here's the problem with Canada right now. If you're thinking about actually moving there, they have restricted immigration dramatically over the past few months. And part of that is because Canada, like many other countries, has housing problems. They've got labor problems and so on. And having all these foreigners come in takes away from their infrastructure. They don't want it. They can't manage it. And they've had a lot of bad players that were taking advantage of the situation and charging ridiculous prices for people to come into the country and so on. So the Trudeau administration stopped that and has put a big kibosh on immigration. Can you still go there? Sure, work visas and so on, absolutely, but don't plan on emigrating there. And frankly, you know, Canada's medical system, while it is universal health, a lot of people aren't happy with it because they can't get the services that they want. So Canada, while it has always been a favorite of mine and of so many, and a default for conscientious objectors over the years and so on, not necessarily a great place to move to. And by the way, have you been there in the wintertime? I have. It gets cold. If you're a skier, you'll love it, but if you like warm weather locations, that would not be top on my list. Next might be the UK. Same thing about winter. I would typically go over to London for between Christmas and New Year's. It is cold then. It is super cold, but I love the UK. Love it, love it, love it. But again, you're looking at a society that economically is having challenges. Now, the UK is very affordable in a number of ways and very expensive in others. You can play with it, but again, we're in the same situation of not being optimized while you're in the UK. You may want to consider Australia. I did, and I was there for a long time. Luckily, during COVID, I sheltered during COVID in Australia. Fell in love with the country, can't wait to go back, but they don't want you. And certainly if you're over 45, they really don't want you. They have a whole point system for immigration, and it is not in favor of anyone over the age of 45. You can do a work visa if you want to, potentially, if it's something that they want, but getting into Australia is hard. Now, as a digital nomad, you can go in and get a one-year tourist visa. You can't stay any more than 90 days at any one time, so you've got to get out. And they really don't want you to be there 90 days, go for a couple of days out and come back. They really do want you to be a tourist, if you will. But you can come on a work visa as well. And that does remind me, when I say work visa, you can go for business research and that type of thing. But you cannot have a job there. Same thing, you can't have a job in the UK, Canada, that sort of thing. You can't do it. And you may find in some of the countries that even doing your online business is technically against the rules, and they can invite you to leave, like tonight. So you want to be really careful about that, and don't, for heaven's sakes, when you get to the immigration officer, when you're going into the country, tell them what you're doing. What you tell them is you're visiting friends, you're going to the theater, you're exploring the country, and so on. You don't say, yeah, I have an online business that I'm going to be setting up shop and doing Zoom calls every day. That they won't let you in the country. That is, just don't do that. Okay, I've had people get to the border and they're traveling with all sorts of equipment, and they're saying the wrong thing, and of course they're not going to be let in the country. They're going to have to really fight their way in. It doesn't make sense. So make sure you know what you're doing, and you are going to be going as a tourist. Again, taste before you buy, right? It's that simple. Taste before you buy. Something like dating. You don't just, typically, you don't just meet somebody on any site and then suddenly you're married for the next 32 years. Now, wouldn't that be wonderful? It was that easy, in a happy marriage, that is. But in this case, you want to taste. So you've got your Canada, you've got your UK, you've got your Australia. That's kind of the default countries. New Zealand, same sort of thing. I love New Zealand, and I've only been there a very little bit. I really want to explore more. But they have a point system as well for immigration. But let's talk now about, and by the way, all those countries are incredibly LGBTQ plus friendly. They love us. Gay marriage is accepted. We've got all these great things for us culturally as the gay community goes. So they're tops on the list. They are our prime countries, but from an immigration standpoint, I would recommend not. Let's talk about then what the alternatives are and where you can go to have a more fun life. And once again, I'm going to come back to that same concept of let's taste, let's play, let's adventure the world. And let's not necessarily escape the United States if you're American or whatever country you're escaping from. Let's go out on an adventure, on a journey, on a taste test of the world. Make the world your playground. That, to me, is the attitude to have, so that way you're not feeling that you're pressured, you're not feeling that you're extra stressed. You're now going towards something rather than away from something. From a mindset, it's a much better way to play. Hope you agree with that, because I think that's what should drive us. As an example, I'm going to Korea tomorrow, and I'm doing a bunch of different trips back and forth to Korea for a mileage run. I have never been to Korea. I've always wanted to go, never went. I think the guys in Korea are really cute, so that's going to be really a lot of fun. I watch some of the Korean TV shows; they're adorable. So there's all that brings to bear, and I've got friends that have been to Korea and have loved it. So this will be a really great adventure. Am I planning to move there? No, but you know what? Who knows what could be? So keep your eyes open, right? Keep your opportunities open. So let's then talk about some of our top destinations for you as a LGBTQ plus pride nomad. First up, let's talk about Spain. I love Spain. We know the rain in Spain flows mainly on the plain. If you're into musicals, I'm in Mom's musical room here. They've got a great social and legal framework, gay marriage equality since 2005. They're great. They've been having a lot of difficulty with tourism lately. When I say difficulty, the locals don't want tourists because they've been eating up the local housing. Has been a problem with Airbnb in Barcelona, for example. So you want to be really mindful of that. Longer term rental, probably a better option for you. But culturally, they love us. There's a festive atmosphere in Spain. Incredible architecture, incredible history. The south of Spain, where the beaches are tremendous. Go to the north, and you're going to go up to Bilbao, where the big museum is. It's the Guggenheim, gorgeous, gorgeous museum. And then just next to that is, next to that is a matter of speaking, is San Sebastian. Apparently the most expensive city in Spain, or most expensive street rather in Spain, is in that city. It is absolutely stunning. San Sebastian, worth going to San Sebastian for sure. And I did that. I flew into Madrid, took a bus up there, and it was great. So totally worth doing. And then you go to the south of Spain. You're talking about Verona. You're talking about Sevilla. You're talking about Valencia. I love Valencia, and you'll see a lot of the architecture in Valencia showing up in videos and photos all over the world because their modernistic architecture is stunning. I bought a great suit in Valencia. I wish I wore suits now. So Valencia is awesome. Then of course, BC and Barcelona is a favorite of everybody. But what's interesting is when I got there, I thought that would be my plan B if I was going to be leaving Australia as I have, and I didn't feel the vibe when I went back. Didn't feel the vibe at all. But you will love Spain, and so Spain would be good on your list to explore. Go for a bit, travel through it, nomad through Spain, right? And then decide if you want to stay there longer and then play. They've got a great digital visa, a digital nomad visa to play with. So there are all sorts of tremendous options in that fantastic country. And of course, if you want to think about pride events and so on, they're there, baby. Madrid, Barcelona, they've got them all. And of course, the smaller towns will have their own things. Oh, and dare I forget, La Tomatina, the tomato festival. If you've seen that, and if you've seen any videos of the tomato festival where you are just encased in tomato, let me tell you, it is the real thing. I have done it. It's silly, honestly, but it's fun, it's memorable, and just make sure that when you go to that, you have your camera fully charged. I didn't, and I don't have any video of it. So, make sure that you are properly prepared for that. Okay, moving on. Next door to Spain is a country called Portugal. Now, I love Portugal. Love Portugal. One of my favorite cities in the world is Porto, which is the #2 city in Portugal on the north. And if you heard of port wine, that's where the name came from. So if you head up the river in there, you'll get to some of the wineries. It's a beautiful, charming city. Of course, most people know Portugal for Lisbon, and Lisboa is a tremendous city. It's gorgeous. I spent a lot of time there. There's a great Jim Holmes place, which was formerly the Virgin Active. I used to go there daily because it was a fantastic gym, and they had a restaurant downstairs. They still do. And at that point, they had meeting rooms, so I could actually hold Zoom calls and do business in the gym, eat there, work out, do a yoga or Pilates class, pump some iron, let's stare at the cute guys, and that was my day. It was awesome. So it was a great way to still do my business and have somewhat of a social life. Awesome place. Love Barcelona. Some nice beaches that you can play with as well. Head down, get on the train, 30 minutes away. You're headed over to, and I'm going blank on the name of the town, so forgive me, my people in Portugal. But they're lovely people. They're wonderful, very gay friendly. Welcome attitude towards foreigners. Their digital visa situation, digital nomad visa situation is in flux a little bit. There's been some changes, I think, towards the positive, and I don't have the details for you on that. They are changing, so I'll leave you to the research on that on your own, because I don't want to make this an obsolete video for you. Is an inexpensive country to live in. Always has been. Food, by the way, awesome. But here's the problem with Portugal right now. Prices have skyrocketed. Food still seems to be about right. It hasn't changed very much. It's still pretty affordable. But when you look at housing, it's like doubled over the past few years. Why? Because of people like us. Because the digital nomads and foreigners have come in and have just skyrocketed those prices. Shame on us. But that's where we are. So when I went back to Portugal last year with the intention of getting my digital nomad visa there, I was shocked by the prices and I left. I couldn't stomach it. It just troubled me to be the same as everybody else, Oops, I lost the microphone. So when I went back to Portugal a couple of years ago, so when I went back to Lisbon last year to work on my digital nomad visa, I was going to stay there rather than Australia because they really want you in Portugal. They don't really want you in Australia. I was so shocked by the prices that I ultimately left. I want to be in a place where I'm not one of the jillions of foreigners that are there in the country. I want to be something special. I want to be unique. I want to make a difference. I don't want to be another one of them, if you will. When I moved to Bangkok in 2009, for example, and I was there on a retirement visa, so I say I moved there. I did have that long-term visa. I was unique. I was special. People were like, you live in Thailand. How cool is that? So I like the idea of having that uniqueness, and I want you to be able to have that as well in your life. So Portugal, great option. Again, prices have gone kind of crazy, but if you're there for a month or two or whatever, just make sure that you do travel around the country. Rent a car, for example, go around the coast. My mom and I did that a few years ago. Had the best chocolate cake of my life there. Oh my God, it was so good. I wish I knew what the place was. I forget the name of the town, but we'll have to research it because I want to go back. It was, you have those meals, it was good. It was really good. So that's Portugal. And of course, they love the gays, so we're fine there. Okay. One other thing also about Portugal, English, you can get by with English fine. Both, same thing in Spain, of course. If you know Spanish, you'll do great in Spain, of course. In Portugal, you want to learn it. You do want to learn the language in Portugal. That's another consideration. With the other countries, such as UK, Canada, and so on, the language is already not a barrier. But frankly, I've traveled the world and have not had any major issue at all. So as long as you're patient and as long as you don't expect people to speak English because you do, and if you don't have that attitude, you'll be just fine. You really will. They like tourists. They like people that are sincere. Take the French, for example. Some people complain that the French are rude. I have never experienced that. They've always been lovely and wonderful. Maybe because I love the language, I love the country, I love the people. And when you love that and you're in that state of enthusiasm, they will love you back. They will love you back. And so even if you're struggling with the language, and sometimes I struggle with French a bit, I've only had a couple years of it in high school, but they know I love it, they feel it, and they want to help me with my pronunciation. And they may laugh at me, but they're laughing with me rather than at me. You know what I mean? So if you're sincere, they will play. Now let's go head over to Asia. Taiwan. Love Taiwan. I wish I could tell you I've been there. I haven't been there yet. It's making me crazy. I really want to go. Why do we love Taiwan? Well, first of all, it was the first country in Asia to legalize gay marriage. Secondly, not in any particular order here, the president of Taiwan, previous president, has been so embracing of our community. When Nymphia Wind won RuPaul's Drag Race, the president of Taiwan, the president of the country, invited her to perform at the presidential palace. Where on earth does that kind of stuff happen? I get so emotional about that because it's such a great thing. So Taiwan, absolutely, you'll fall in love with it. You will love the idea of an active LGBTQ plus scene. Of course, there's an issue of political consideration with the China threats. Who knows where that will go? But we're not talking about that happening tomorrow. So I would say go, absolutely, taste, test, explore, enjoy, and play with Taiwan for sure. They're attracted to digital nomads. They do like us. There are some incentives for those of you that are in tech. So absolutely play with Taiwan. Go, explore, and enjoy. Next on our list, New Zealand. Yes, strong legal protections for the LGBTQ plus community. It's a smaller country, certainly, so there's more intimacy there. It's stunning. If you take a look at just what's going on, just Google New Zealand. It is a gorgeous place to be. Your eyes will love you forever. I mean, truly. So worthy of the trip. Now, the thing about New Zealand is it's pretty far away. Now, that's a plus and a minus. The plus is it's pretty far away. The minus is it's pretty far away. And where that comes into play is certainly if you're doing business and you have time zone considerations. Same thing with Australia, of course, and really all of Asia. You'll find that, for example, say 9 o'clock in the morning in Bangkok may be 9 o'clock at night in the United States, or 6 o'clock on the West Coast, for example. I think East Coast because I'm originally from New York. So I think that way. So you really want to manage that, and you will have to manage your lifestyle accordingly based upon who your customers and clients are along the way. Okay, let's continue on our journey. A couple of lesser known gems that you want to consider as well. And remember, I want you to travel the world. I want you to experience the world. Stay, but don't just go for a couple days because you're not going to really know what a country is until you've really been there and spent a week or so. Not just in the country, but in a city, in a town. Get to know somebody. Get to have the person at the grocery store know you. Example, I was at Whistler for the gay ski week, and I love the gay ski week, one of my favorite weeks of the year. Met a young lady from Australia who was working at the hardware store. And we were just talking, and she told me exactly where to go to eat cheap. Because I don't like spending a lot of money on food. I love good food, but to me, spending like $400 on a meal is silly. It's gone, in an hour, right? I want something that will make me feel good and fill me up and so on, but I can't spend that kind of money. It just seems silly. I'd rather buy a lift ticket. So she pointed me to this one restaurant, and I can see it in my mind, so I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was because that relationship was built. If you're just a tourist jumping in and out of a town, no one knows you. No one's going to have an investment in you. But when they do know you, even if it's for a few days, there is a rapport, there is a connection, and that will give you a much better experience of the community. And you'll get a really more intimate way of understanding it. And that's important. And even if you're just going out to a gay bar, you meet somebody at the gay bar, and you don't even have to hook up. They will talk to you as a tourist. They will give you suggestions, advice. They may take you on a little tour. They may take you to lunch, whatever it may be. And it does not need to involve sex at all. It's that people really, really do want to share their community and their life experience with you. So stay long enough to really enjoy that and get the fabric of a place. I'm going to go to Colombia, and that means I will be in Medellin, I will be in Bogota, I'll be in Cartagena, and other areas of the country that I don't even know about yet. And I can't just do Colombia in a week or two, because that's not fair to the country, or is it fair to me? The challenge now, of course, is how do I manage to see so much of the world with that type of an attitude, right? Being more of a slow, mad-ish way of going about things. That's the decision we have to make. We can only cover this much ground in this year. It just is how it is. I don't think you want to be on a race to get through all the countries, as many countries as you can to cross it off your list. You're not your bedpost, if you will, on countries. It's not about that. It's not a contest about how many countries you can go to. It's about the quality of your experience while you're there. Quickly, let's go to Uruguay. Uruguay is really cool. Across the way from BA, from Buenos Aires, so when you go down to Argentina, you can take a ferry over, which I did one day to get there. But one of the first countries in Latin America to legalize same-sex marriage and marijuana. A relaxed lifestyle. They're much more laid back over there. Really focused on personal freedoms and quality of life. Uruguay is really cool. Stable country, stable economy. They're growing as a tech and cultural hub in South America, worthy of your time. And again, you don't have to make a long-term commitment. It's further south, but guess what? Time zones are consistent with the United States if you are USA-centric. Okay, bear that in mind. South Africa. I love South Africa. Most people don't talk about South Africa very much. Great protections, great LGBTQ plus rights. We haven't talked about that much in our top 10s in the past. But you'll fall in love with Cape Town. You will. You will fall in love. Hike up Table Mountain, Robben Island, and then head over down the beaches. It is stunning. The men are fabulous. Ladies, I'm sure the ladies are as well. It's a great country. You will love South Africa. Johannesburg has its issues with crime, as does the rest of the country. You want to be mindful of that and protect yourself and stay in the right places. I will tell you, by the way, running through Japan recently, never had any consideration about crime. Same thing in Thailand. I've actually never been afraid in any country that I've ever been in. So again, be smart. Don't go carrying bling with you. I don't really wear jewelry. I've got one ring that I've had for years. Don't go flashy. Just be real, be cool, and don't try to impress anybody. You'll be fine. You really will. You'll be fine. But with South Africa, again, you've got issues with crime. You have the great diversity, but you have the haves and have-nots because you have the rich and the not rich. So there is that consideration. And again, kind of far away, but time zone-wise, you're on the same time zone as Europe, so you're in pretty good shape there. Now let's jump over to Malta really quick. Another country I have not yet been to, just to be clear. Can't wait to go. First country in Europe, I believe, to legalize gay marriage. They are top ranked for LGBTQ plus rights. Small country, Mediterranean lifestyle, really nice, rich diversity, strong English-speaking population, so that'll be really helpful for you, and great, attractive visa opportunities for you as a digital nomad or an expat. So, and favorable tax policies as well. So consider that also. Okay, so those are our top places to play with. Okay, kind of to bring this thing around full circle, let's talk about preparing. Plan your adventure, right? Don't just jump on an airplane without thinking about it. Really get to know where you're going, what you're doing, why you're going there, what your intention is for being there. See if you can't reach out to some local community groups before you actually go to get some ideas. Pop a question in some of the Facebook groups. Say you're going X. Does anybody have any ideas for where you should go? That's important. I asked one of my WhatsApp groups yesterday. Anybody have any suggestions for South Korea? And they said, "You're going to? What about the martial law?" Oh, I didn't know. So, and by the way, since I'm not planning on protesting, I'm not afraid of that. I was in Thailand during the coup a few years back. Didn't affect me. It was sad to watch, but it didn't affect me because it's not my country. I'm a guest, which reminds me, you're a guest in these countries. You represent your country as a guest in those countries, but you're a guest. Do not get involved with their political situation, with anything else. Do not get involved. It is not your business. That's one way that you can stay emotionally free of all the drama, right? Don't jump into the drama. It's not yours. It's just not. So don't go there, okay? Navigating tax systems. You're not moving there. You're a nomad. You're going to be there for a short time frame. Just be sure that you don't run afoul of anything that is legal in the country. We do have the Pride Nomad Concierge. If you go to our website, go to pridenomad.com and subscribe to the newsletter. We'll hook you up with some of our concierge data sources to give you some resources for that. There's more on that. But just plan ahead and understand that when you are traveling, you are running a life of travel with fun and adventure, and nothing is permanent. If you're not happy with someplace, guess what? Leave, go someplace else. If you don't like Spain, go to Portugal. If you don't like Portugal, go to Malta. If you don't like Malta, go to Taiwan. If you don't like Taiwan, go to South Africa, go to Uruguay, go to Colombia, go to Ecuador. There's so many different places in the world you can go that are welcoming and want us and want you. And the more you go, the more you experience, the more you realize it is a small world. People are wonderful and friendly. They really do want to connect and share. There's no reason to be afraid about anything, frankly, when it comes to travel. Again, we're here to support you. We're here to give you as much tools, strategies, tips, and common sense as we can. I've been through a lot of the world, and there's so much more I'm still enjoying to go through, and I will share that journey. And I hope that you, as a viewer of the channel, will share your adventures as well, because your adventures are equally, if not more important than mine, because you see things with a different set of eyes than I do. And I don't represent the entire community. Certainly, I'm an older age than some of our younger members, and so I do things differently than others do. It doesn't mean I still travel like I'm 30 and still jump around and run around the world with a backpack and a rollerboard suitcase. That's it. There's no checked baggage for me, right? Because I want to go, I want to move. I don't want to be waiting at the airport. I want to get out. Really important to me. So, lifestyle-wise, see what works for you. Try new places. Enjoy the world. Pack light. Have fun, and be safe. And if you haven't joined the Pride Nomad letter subscription, get your subscription at pridenomad.com. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, do it here. And I wish you the best, the most safe, fun, and enjoyable travel experiences. You deserve it.